everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shane Bouchard, and I am the Director of Brand and Digital here at GitLab. Today, I would like to introduce you to our team and share some exciting plans we have for the year. But before I get into that, I've been asked to share a little bit about my experience as it pertains to GitLab. For the past 20 years or so, I have been helping companies build high-performing cross-functional teams and omni-channel brand and product experiences. My expertise is in brand, strategic, conversion-driven creative, product marketing, and user experience design.
Shane, Shane, it's Nadia here. Can I ask you to stop sharing your screen? We'd love to see your face when you talk.
Okay, sure.
Thanks so much.
Sure. How's that? Over the years, I've worked for big brands that we all know, like Disney, here in Orlando, where I am Zooming from, as well as Symantec and Microsoft, award-winning interactive agencies, and a number of successful SaaS startups. My last company, I worked for a company called SharpSpring. And like GitLab, SharpSpring translates scattered tool chains into a full-featured, unified platform that makes businesses more competitive. But SharpSpring does that for sales and marketing automation. I joined GitLab as a UX manager over plan, create, and manage. And was in that role for roughly 7 or 8 months before I transitioned to this role, which I've been in now for 2 months. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce the team. Our team is comprised of 2 groups. Brand, which is led by Luke Bobb, who most of you who work here know. Luke's been here for several years. He's been doing an outstanding job during that time as an individual contributor and now manager. And it's an honor to have an opportunity to work with him. His right-hand designer, the talented Monica, and then also Vic Bell, who's our new senior illustrator. And the other group is the digital group, which includes Lauren Barker, our full stack engineering guru, and Brandon and Steven, who are outstanding marketing designer devs. The digital team is responsible for a lot of the improvements you do see on aboutgitlab.com, and then some you don't see that are happening behind the scenes where Lauren is working her magic. So this is a really great team. I strongly encourage you guys to reach out and get to know them. It's also a young team. And as we grow, we're looking to pivot from being in a more reactive posture or tactical oriented team to being a more proactive or strategic team that's focused on creating value for our business. And I've listed a few things that we're focused on going forward in order to do that. But rather than read you these bullets, I'd rather use the remainder of my time sharing some our OKRs for Q1 that we're really excited about. So this set of OKRs is on slide 5, is focused on increasing conversions on aboutgitlab.com and various funnels, content marketing funnels, trial, demo, webcast, just to name a few. In addition, and you can see we've been working with Shane Rice, who's been fantastic to work with to set specific KPIs for each of those. In addition to those, we've also queued up a number of other conversion MVC opportunities on aboutgitlab.com, and you can learn more about those and contribute to them by clicking the link available in the bottom of the slide. We're really excited about the opportunities that we have here with these conversion MVCs and the revenue that they can generate for our business. And several of them are already underway and even being tested now. The next set of OKRs is focused on us planning in this quarter a phased full website refresh that would take place over subsequent quarters, Q2 through Q4. The first phase would likely be focused on global things like improving our information architecture and navigation and the look and feel of the site, as well as additional revenue driving opportunities. But again, this is a work in progress, this plan is. And so as we finalize the plan and the phases and the scope of each phase, we'll be reaching out to the appropriate stakeholders to identify goals and requirements and KPIs so that we can make sure that the final result is as smart as all of us, and that we can validate that the changes and that the new site that we release is moving the needle in the right direction. We will be working with a third-party vendor that's to be determined, and what that vendor does versus what we do in-house is also to be determined. We're still figuring out what the right chemistry would be there, but we will need some help, if not in capability, then in horsepower in order to make this happen. And then our last set of OKRs that we have here is also extremely exciting. We're going to iterate our brand, our strategy, our visual identity, and also our guidelines. This is super important to GitLab as it scales, and it will allow us to sharpen the effectiveness of our brand, and it will also create a single source of truth so that internal and external kind contributors can produce on-brand, compelling on and offline experiences. So this, like all of the OKRs I shared, will be collaborative, and we've listed some of the activities here that we'll be going through in order to make that happen. Would strongly encourage you to also click through to this link and learn more about this and contribute. So that's pretty much my show today. I would just say, one, thank you for your time. And then also we have included a number of slides in this deck showcasing some of the recently completed work that we've been doing, as well as some work that's in flight. And all of those are linked to their respective issues, where again, you can learn more and contribute. So with that, I guess we'll open it up for questions if time permits.
Yeah, Shane, there's questions happening in the group conversation agenda that we're already jumping in on.
Okay.
Matt P, do you want to verbalize your question?
Yeah, thanks, guys. And I think this is related to slide 4, specifically around the data-informed decision-making and conversion design and funnel optimization. I was curious if you could maybe speak more to that on how decisions are being made on marketing efforts for specific markets or geos. And just, maybe those 2 bullets I called out, if you could just help me understand that a little bit more, I appreciate it.
Sure. So what we're doing now is we're identifying KPIs for all of the experiments we're running, all the conversion experiments we're running. And again, Shane Rice has been instrumental in helping us identify those. We're also working with the growth team because some of those analytics happen both on About GitLab, or some of the analytics we need are on aboutgitlab.com, and others are in product. So we're collaborating there as makes sense. To set those KPIs and then measure, did we move them in the right direction? And also, what are the KPIs we want to look out for in terms of negative impacts of what we're doing and accounting for those. And then in terms of conversion design, conversion design is a well-known discipline, and there's a lot of documentation out there about basic best practices And that's both in design and technical, the speed of the page and so on and so forth. And so we're applying those to these conversion MVCs as well. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for the question.
There, I'll add, unless Dara's on. Dara, are you on?
I am on, but go ahead.
We actually worked with the sales team to come up with P0, P1 geos, and that's where we're focusing our marketing efforts. And we did that based on MQL volume historically, as well as where we're growing the sales team. So this is the first year we've ever done that. So just to add to that.
I think I'm up next. So this question, great to hear, move in this direction. I guess the context to this is when I chat with customers, oftentimes they come with a preset stack for their coming at, or decision they made. And the two big decisions, and I'm sure there's more, are things like, hey, I made a cloud decision or I made a language decision. Wondering, when you look at GitLab, it's kind of, you got to digest it sort of all upfront as GitLab versus, is part of our thinking perhaps to present them a roadmap that says, I'm an AWS user, here's how GitLab can help me get to Lambda and EKS. And I think, Todd, you answered that. The short answer is you want us to work on that in terms of the user journey, and then would work with Shane's team to implement it. And I
think that's my opinion. Shane, you might have something to add, but the product marketing team should really work with alliances and sort of adapt our use cases to what is the use case. We're moving to this use case model, but what is the use case on AWS and the journey of that? And then that would be content that Shane's team would implement.
Okay. Does that include like orders and like in the user journey, like, hey, I landing page, and then how it spreads out and all of that? I'm not an expert in this space, so I apologize if I'm being overly simplistic.
So I've seen some of the, I was just going to say, I've seen there's quite a bit of work being done here in terms of different adoption paths and so on and so forth. And to Todd's point, I think we would take what product marketing figures out there, and we would apply it to the website. So that might mean scenario-driven navigation, for example. Am I an enterprise or a medium-sized business? Whatever that might mean. Yeah, we would feed off of that and look to tailor the website to accommodate those various use cases and scenarios.
Okay. Thank you.
I have the next question. I'm Sarah Daly in Marketing Ops, and I'm just really excited to see the efforts towards aligning our brand strategy in general. And I'm curious if evaluating our email marketing will be part of those efforts.
Yes, I certainly hope so. And I just had a great conversation with New about just that. So I think the design team has the opportunity to help us as an organization look at not just touch points, but overall experiences and omni-channel experiences. So what does it feel like when I go through a content marketing funnel and I get an email? Is that landing page I was just on, does that connect in terms of the messaging and look and feel with the email I received? And is that continuous? Because obviously that's what we're looking for. That's what helps users make their way through this journey and convert. So I'm hoping that we can help by mapping those journeys and sort of providing low-cost visualizations of them that everybody can use to kind of think through those experiences.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
This is Jamie. I just had a follow-up question to that. Would that include all emails, like transactional, license, support, things like that?
I'm not sure. I think we'll start with what's close to us, which would be the emails that marketing is sending. And I think this is something that isn't going to be solved, quickly. I think we'll make incremental improvements here. So we'll start on the marketing side. Certainly, we're always open to collaboration with other teams because I know other folks are sending emails as well. And that's part of that customer experience too, right? So, but I think it starts by improving our email templates and making sure that they're our marketing emails, that is, and making sure that it's easy for us to produce quality emails that are designed to convert. And then, so that's step one, and we'll see where that goes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Brandon?
I will verbalize, but actually, Jamie, if you want to, the question was just around how you were tackling it, but you already highlighted that in your discussion, which was, hey, gonna probably work with third party to bring the horsepower. So I think you answered my primary question. Jamie, did you have anything more you wanted to add? Because it looks like you might want to dig in a little deeper.
Yeah, I was just curious what you're looking the third party to take on as far as the work there.
We're looking at that now and trying to figure out what makes the most sense. And I'm sure as we have conversations with agencies, that might help us figure out also what the right fit is there, what the right chemistry is. So we're not sure just yet. There's a lot of moving parts there, but that conversation is underway.
Next question's mine. What tools or software applications do you plan to buy this year?
Oh, great question. So Figma is a tool we'll be using that's similar to Sketch, but a bit more collaborative and lightweight. We already have Sketch, and then also mockups for lo-fi diagramming. So one of the things we want to do is use more lo-fi visualizations to kind of work through early ideas and lower the cost of change so we can iterate more. And so mockups is a great tool for that. And there's one I'm forgetting here. Well, obviously the Adobe Suite. There's one I'm forgetting here.
Is it Mural, Shane?
It is Mural.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Mural is great for design thinking and journey mapping and just collaborating, async and synchronously. So I think one of the project showcases we have actually has a snapshot of a Mural journey map that we're creating.
And a follow-up question would be, does your team and the UX team share tools, or is it just like additional licenses or?
So I know that when I transitioned out of UX, they were using Sketch, which I think historically has been the prototyping tool of choice here at GitLab, but also evaluating Figma for the reasons I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Figma has really done some pretty interesting things in that space, and it's drawing a lot of attention from a lot of folks. In terms of how much crossover we have and file sharing, I'm not sure that it's to be determined, but I don't think it will be a lot. But yeah, we'll be collaborating with them going forward, obviously, to make sure that any sharing that needs to happen, that we're coordinating tools and so on.
And I just asked this question the other day about what kind of wireframing flow prototyping tools they use, and there didn't seem to be a singular answer. Everyone kind of had their own that they were working for. I think evaluating Figma is definitely a good option, but it's not necessarily something that they all use.
I'll just jump in here too and voice my comment. I'm Kristen and I run design management for GitLab on the product team. And so I just wanted to highlight there as well. Shane, I know we're still at minimal in terms of how easy design management is to use, but I would love to get your team's feedback on that around your high fidelity mockups. So a lot of the design here at GitLab so far has not been marketing imagery and like website design. So I think it would be really cool if we could keep working with you to get it to a point where it can support all of those tools in your flow.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, Kristen, as soon as I joined marketing, I started directing folks to the design tab and the design management features, and we've been dogfooding them ever since, and we're happy to continue to do that. Definitely.
Thanks.
And Jarek.
Shane, I wanted to ask you about video content and if there's any priority for new video content for the site, or your general thoughts, strategy around creating new video content when you're creating new web pages.
Yeah, so as Todd mentioned here, Erica Flowers is the DRI for video content. There have been some initial conversations about how we might leverage content she's already creating or repurpose it or get more mileage out of it on things like landing pages, which obviously video on landing pages is generally a conversion booster. But that's about as far as the conversation's gone so far.
Gotcha, thanks. And thanks, Todd, for putting that comment in there.
So Shane, I think I had the next question, which was, can you just discuss how you're planning to collaborate with Pajamas?
Yeah, so I think there's definitely some overlap. So Pajamas is predominantly solving for application design, which I think some of that challenge is similar to what we're solving for on a marketing site, but there's also unique needs we have in a marketing site. So I think there's overlap there. How much is to be determined. So again, I'm going to reach out to Tori, who leads Pajamas, and have a conversation to that effect and figure out, you know, which assets we can and should share, you know, as makes sense, and where marketing is going to need to develop its own design system to solve for unique marketing needs. And then once we figure that out, and we're hoping a marketing design system will be part of the new website refresh effort for all sorts of reasons. But once we figure that out, then how do we present these design systems, you know, in the open? Are they on the same site? Are they separate? I think we'll need to figure that out. And I know that our team has been thinking about that and sort of preparing for that conversation with UX and with Tori and so on. Thanks everyone for your questions. I appreciate the interest.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for the overview. And I'm really glad you're here to work on this stuff.
Thanks, me too.